Hey Lord of the Ring fans, Roman Medasla here. We're going to stick with the strategy battle game by Games Workshop, going through a few of these box sets. And right now we're going to be looking at the Warriors of Harad, or the Haradrim. As you can see, I have two box sets. So after I bought the Fellowship of the Ring box set and let it sit at home and while I was in Korea, and when I came home, this was the first box set of bad guys that I actually bought, was the Haradrim. I bought them in a set of Gondorians. So we're going back 2006 or 7, and I bought the one on the left first from Games Workshop. Can't remember what I paid for it at the time. And then years later, from Fan of the Sport, I did buy that one for $25 at Fan of the Sport, that second box. So I got 40, and they're a box of 24 each, so I have 48 Haradrim. And I also got a chieftain on horseback and on foot. That one I got for $10 from Games Workshop. They were having a promotion for Black Friday, and it was the only Lord of the Rings they had, and it was in a loose. It was loose. It wasn't in a blister pack or anything. It was just kicking around the bottom of a box when I found it. And they said, "Oh yeah, we can get $10 for that," because they don't offer Lord of the Rings in Games Workshop, which kind of sucks as part of any deals or anything. So I have a chieftain on foot and riding and 48 Warriors of Harad. You get 12 spearmen and 12 archers, which is kind of strange because usually in any of the scenarios for strategy battle game, you're only allowed 33% of your force is supposed to be archers, but here they got 50. And they only come in so many poses, and there's no swordsman other than the chieftain himself. Though I'm sure all of them have a small sword or knife as well, like a scimitar hanging around. And as you can see, my color scheme, I've changed my color scheme. The first set I got, I kind of stayed true to what the box was. A lot of golds, dark blues, reds, purples. And then for the second box set, I actually went a little differently and went with white for the first 12. I call them the lifeguards. And then I painted the next 6 into a tannish brown color to blend into the desert. And then I went with all gray for the final 6. And with the white guys, I even made one a bannerman, because each box set does come with a banner. Alright, a little close-up look here. You can see the chieftain. He's got a scimitar and another dagger on the infantry one. And then the horse guy, he's got this weird thing on the back to designate that he's a chieftain or a leader. I don't know where they got the idea from that from. I know certain cultures, like the winged hussars, use feathers. The Japanese had what they call con on the back to delineate troops, like flags. And you can see from the original box set how many poses there actually are. Not a lot of variations. They're all plastic, by the way, so they tend to break easily. And the archers, some of them have their hoods up, some don't, or they're masked. And then we get to the lifeguards. I kind of like this color scheme. This was one of my favorite color schemes to use for the Haradrim. So these ones in the tans, they would blend in better with the desert. And then these ones with the gray, I made their faces darker so they're from the deeper parts of the desert, or from far Harad. So overall, I like the paint job I did with this box set, not so much this box set. It gets boring painting these things the same color over and over, and I wanted to represent different tribes or kingdoms, sub-kingdoms. That was the whole idea, because Harad is a pretty big place. There's near Harad, which is just south of Gondor. Even the Harandorians could be considered half Haradaic. So near Harad, which would be around Umbar, and that in the northern desert, and then you have far Harad, and you have greater Harad. So I wanted them to represent different parts. So you can use these in the Middle-earth role-playing game. They work great there. And of course with the strategy battle game. So you can use these guys in a lot of scenarios. The ambush in Ithilien, the siege of Minas Tirith, as well as the battle of Pelennor Fields, the sacking of Pelargir, the battle at the fords of Linhur, and when Aragorn routs them there and chases them all the way back to Pelargir and takes the ships. These guys could be used for that. And then of course you can go before and beyond. the Battle of the Poros, when the Haradrim invaded southern Gondor, and the sons of the king of Rohan, Fulswin and Fulwine, they fell when the Rohirrim sent cavalry to aid Gondor. And then Prince Aenor led the army of southern Gondor and defeated the Haradrim again. And then he became king when the real Gondorian king fell with his sons in the battle up near the Black Gate when the Wain Riders came up. So a lot of scenarios you can use these in the history of Middle Earth. I think Peter Jackson did a good job trying not to make them too much like North African, Middle Eastern, or even Sub-Saharan African troops. I think during the extended documentaries on the videos, some guy mentioned Garibaldi was one of the inspirations for these guys. So, but anyway, any Lord of the Rings strategy battle game guys, let me know what you guys think of this box set. And until next time, this is Roman Day Slime out of here.